who are joining this webinar on Britain's trading relationship, and indeed our relationship on a broader basis with Jordan. I'm delighted to be joined today by His Excellency Ambassador Omar Al-Naha, the Ambassador of Jordan to the Court of St. James, that is to the United Kingdom, and of course by Mr. Bandar Reda, who is the Secretary General of the Arab-British Chamber of Commerce. My name is Elizabeth Simmons, Baroness Simmons of Burnham Dean, and I chair the chamber here, which is a vibrant and extraordinary place, even in this very difficult time that we are all going through, all countries in the world, with the ghastly pandemic that we're facing on COVID. I wanted to make a few opening remarks, if I may, before I turn to our speakers who will talk in more detail. But I do want to emphasize to everybody who is joining us the importance that the United Kingdom has always attached to the relationship with Jordan. I was for a number of years a government minister, Minister of State in the Foreign Office here in London, and have always taken a very keen interest in Jordan. I visited the country many times. I've had the honour and pleasure of meeting His Majesty the King of Jordan on a number of occasions. And of course, that is a historic relationship that has been maintained with his father, King Hussein, and now with King Abdullah. So this is a very important relationship to us historically, but it is absolutely vital looking forward to the future. We are entering a new world, not just because of COVID, but because the United Kingdom, as many of you will know, has left the European Union. We haven't left Europe. We have and hope to maintain very good relationships with our European friends and trading colleagues. But we do now have a degree of independence that we didn't have before. And it's that independence in how we trade and the relationship that we form around the Arab world in general. And as I say, as far as I am concerned, I am particularly keen that we do so with Jordan. But it is a new world that we are facing, and our partners and long relationships are particularly important. We've signed an association agreement with Jordan. I think that comes into effect in July this year, so in just 3 months or so, 4 months or so. And that agreement is very much like the agreement which Jordan has with the European Union. I think what we want to talk about, especially today, is attracting private sector investment in both directions. Very particularly, I'm sure the Jordanian ambassador will want to say more about this, the private sector opportunities that there are in Jordan, and the job creation and the inclusive economic growth, which was the central pillar of the 2019 conference. And we want to celebrate the fact that we are 2 years on from that conference now. The JIC, the UK and the EBRD are delighted, I think, to follow through on those commitments that we made a couple of years ago and launch a new investment projects. We'll be, of course, doing so through our Foreign and Commonwealth Office and with the Development Office, Jordan's Compact Economic Opportunities Programme. And there are a lot of new projects I think we're going to want to discuss, but I'm sure that we all have a very keen sense of the importance of being inclusive and in bringing in as many new jobs into our economies as possible. We have suffered badly through this COVID pandemic. Both our countries have. The ambassador's just been telling me about particular difficulties that you've been experiencing in Jordan. We too have lost a lot of money on our stock markets, but it's looking as though we will be able to recover in time, that we do have to go quite carefully. We have got an intensive vaccination program going on in the United Kingdom. We've just been discussing who's had the vaccination and who hasn't. And I'm very happy to say that I've had the first of mine. It is, I think, a time when we are really trying to turn this around with all our energy, all our determination, and all our commitment to our relationship with Jordan. So, Ambassador and Banda, I hope that we are going to be able to have a good exchange today. I'm going to ask my own Secretary General, if I may, Mr. Banda Raider, well known to many of you, who has been fantastic throughout this pandemic. He's kept this office going. We've had a wonderful staff who have kept our relationships with all our friends in the Arab world, very much with Jordan. I'm going to ask Banda if he would be kind enough to make a few opening remarks, and then, Your Excellency, we very much look forward to what you will have to say. Yours, of course, will be the crucial remarks specific about what you hope to see from us in the United Kingdom, what we will be able to do cooperatively together. But if we may start with Banda, and then I will turn to you, Your Excellency. Banda.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Baroness. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, I'm delighted to welcome everybody to this ambassadorial roundtable focusing on Jordan. The Chamber is honored to be joined at this event by my dearest friend, His Excellency, Mr. Omar al-Nahar, the Ambassador of Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan in London. The United Kingdom and Jordan are strategic partners of long-standing, and as a global economy emerges from the pandemic and all the restrictions that this has imposed, we can look forward to cooperation moving forward, renewed dynamic. There remain great potential for cooperations between the two kingdoms and between the private sectors in particular. And the Arab-British Chamber of Commerce is ready to play its part in facilitating investment and access to opportunities that will become available. I look forward today to listen to His Excellency and the remarks, which I have no doubt it will be extremely encouraging and exciting. Your Excellency, please. Thank you. Can you unmute it, please? We can't hear you.
Dear Right Honourable friend, Baroness Simmons, Secretary General Reda, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to greet you all and thank you for being here. I would like to start by thanking the Arab-British Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity to speak via this platform, which is perfect for social distancing, unfortunately the norm that has become. I, for one, hope that it would change back to what we perceive as normal. Normal face-to-face communications, normal travel, normal schools, and normal world without interruptions. In the meantime, I do hope that you and your loved ones are all well and are all keeping safe. Allow me to start by stating the obvious. The novel coronavirus has hit us all and has hit us all hard, and all at once. The economic impacts and the fallbacks are yet to unfold. We are still learning how to recover from it. There is no right way forward except coming together, sharing our experiences, and aiming to build back better, smarter, and greener. The virus will recede sooner as opposed to later, inshallah. and we would have all learned our lessons from this global challenge that is teaching us that we all need each other, for the world is more connected now than ever before. As His Majesty King Abdullah II said, we must address the global opportunity gap, muster, re-globalize by integrating our resources and ensuring global synergy. Dear friends, history tells us that great challenges like this one we are living today offer opportunities for companies to gain advantage. But coming out of this one, we know that the world will look different, and we would need to invest in one another and look harder and smarter on how we can cement the private-public sector partnership in order to recover from the shocks of the challenges of this magnitude. My friends, Jordan pre-COVID already had its share of socio-economic challenges. High unemployment rates, consistent budget deficits, and rising public debt levels, to name a few. Yet this year, the Hashemite Kingdom is celebrating its centennial, which attests to the resilience of its people and its economy alike. And it attests to the trust of its international interlocutors. The country enjoys stable political environment, a unique strategic location, a free market-oriented economy with access to major international markets and attractive investment climate. We do have a plan. We have been working with our friends and partners here in the UK, the international community, and the international financial institutions even closer after the launch of the London Jordan Conference in February 2019, to ensure that Jordan is on a path to sustainable growth. International reports indicate that Jordan's overall investment environment is improving. Jordan was selected as one of the top 3 most improved business climates in the World Bank's Doing Business Report 2020, jumping 29 places from 104 to 75. The Kingdom advanced 33 points in the Simplified Tax Services Index for implementing an electronic filing and payment system for labor taxes. In ease of getting credit, Jordan ranked on par with the United States and Australia. In the World Economic Forum's 2019 Global Competitiveness Report, Jordan ranked 40, advancing 6 points in its domestic competition indicator. Jordan also ranked 63rd on the 2018 Global Entrepreneurship Index and 29th on the Global Innovation Index. Although the country's economy is small in scale, Jordan's market reach is huge. It benefits from a number of strategic free trade agreements and arrangements, among them with the US, EU, and the Arab world under GAFTA. The country offers by law many fiscal advantages and benefits to foreign investors that include exemptions from custom duties, sales tax, and income tax benefits, in addition to non-fiscal incentives and advantages. And the main targeted sectors post-COVID, where Jordan has a clear advantage, are healthcare, medicines and medical supplies, food industries, agriculture, alternative raw minerals, materials, ICT, including cyber, mining, rare minerals, and fertilizers. We stand ready to pave the way for British companies to enter and enhance its presence in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. And I would like to echo what I have said before at the Arab-British Chamber of Commerce. Jordan is committed to go to the next level, regardless of the challenges which do exist. But we believe, and our history testifies, that in collaboration with our friends, we will turn challenge into opportunity that is mutually beneficial. Allow me to end here and call upon my colleague from the embassy, Mr. Ababne, to go through a short presentation courtesy of the Jordan Investment Commission. then I will be happy to engage with any questions or comments you would like to discuss. And I really thank you all for your attention and look forward to a fruitful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. That was a very encouraging report that you gave us. Obviously, we understand the points you have made about the difficulties that we've all been sharing. I must say, I couldn't agree with you more about your desire for us to be able to have meetings like we used to have. This is wonderful, being able to have this sort of webinar, and we're all keeping in touch with each other, but there is nothing like a face-to-face meeting. There is nothing like looking around the room at people and being able to engage. Nonetheless, we now look forward to Mr. Omar Abameh's presentation and what he has to say to us about the investment climate in Jordan and investment opportunities. So perhaps you'd like to address the webinar.
Thank you, Excellencies. Thank you for giving me the floor and giving me the pleasure to deliver a short presentation on the investment climate in Jordan and investment opportunities, which has been prepared kindly by our colleagues back in Jordan at the National Investment Commission. It's really a great pleasure to take place in this very important session. Excellencies, allow me to start my presentation by shedding light on the investment climate in Jordan, and then we will move forward towards the second part of the presentation, which addresses the opportunities. Why Jordan? This is a very legitimate question, comes to the mind to every investor, and I'll try to spare no efforts to address such a question. Many factors have been encouraging environment in Jordan. Inter alia, I feel that I should start by the political stability, security, and rule of law. Despite many conflicts, unfortunately, and challenges in the region, Jordan continues to be an oasis of peace in a very volatile region, and continuously it tries to maintain stability and security. Modern and well-connected infrastructure, this goes to the transportation, logistics, and definitely to telecommunications, where Jordan is considered as the region's leading ICT solutions hub. Go back to the previous year. Education and labor excellence. This goes as well to the academic education, in addition to the vocational training in Jordan, which we pay a lot of attention to. Moreover, it's wise to know that 70% of the Jordanian population are under the age of 30. Equality of life, Jordan offers a diverse, tolerant, and family-friendly environment. And not to forget, of course, the moderate climate and the historic sites in Jordan. Next slide. Doing business, as mentioned by His Excellency the Ambassador, Jordan jumped 29 places from 104 to 75. Examples, as we can see on the slide, of the 12 areas of business regulation which are covered by the World Bank Group publication. The rank, if you can see, the rank of Jordan in the area, for example, of getting electricity is 69, whereby the getting credit is 4. Trending across borders is 75. Paying taxes 62. So this is just an example. Another reasons why should we invest in Jordan is both fiscal and non-fiscal incentives that Jordan offers. His Excellency Ambassador Al Nahar clearly illustrated the fiscal incentives And in terms of the non-fiscal incentives, the foreign investors can own up to 100% based on the sector. The possibility of granting Jordanian citizenship through investment. The non-Jordanian investors has the right to transfer his or her generated revenues and profits of his or her investment to outside Jordan. Not to forget as well that the cabinet itself may grant any additional advantages, exemptions, or incentives to any economic activities, including small and medium enterprises, or any economic activities in a specific geographic area in the kingdom. One of the most important and vital reasons to invest in Jordan is the strategic location for the kingdom as a hub in the region and beyond. And this is a reality. It's not a slogan, it's a reality that Jordan can play a hub in our region. Locating in Jordan allows investors to use their investments as a base for trade and investment, benefiting from the signing of major free trade agreements, around 55 bilateral investment treaties, 27 double taxation avoidance agreements, and other free trade agreements, allowing access to regional and international markets. Hence, investors will have the potential of serving over 1 billion customers. Regional free trade agreement, as mentioned by the ambassador, we have the GAFTA, the EU-Jordan Association Agreement, the European Free Trade Association, and others. In terms, another important aspect which I would like to shed light on, which is Jordan is considered as a gateway for neighboring countries, particularly to Iraq, taking into consideration the excellent strategic and historic and outstanding bilateral relations with Iraq. Moreover, we don't forget that we have right now the trilateral mechanism of cooperation between Jordan, Egypt, and Iraq, and that will offer, of course, many economic opportunities. The last one, that the Aqaba port is a strategic point towards the African continent. We have many reasons and enablers that really encourage investment in Jordan. We spoke about a couple of them. Jordan is committed to protecting investor rights regardless of their nationality, enable a dynamic and successful investment and business, enhancing the doing business ecosystem, cutting the red tape and bureaucracy, and not to forget the solid banking sector that we have in Jordan. But let's move now to the second part of this very short presentation, which highlights the opportunities in Jordan. The entire world still suffers from COVID-19 pandemic. As His Excellency just said, the novel coronavirus has hit us all hard. Nevertheless, while tourism, transportation, manufacturing, export, and other sectors have been severely affected by the pandemic, a couple of sectors have been flourished. These positively affected sectors are, as you can imagine, the health sector, agriculture, and ICT, which proved during the pandemic that it's really a vital and indispensable sector at this time. The opportunities, the JIC launched around 75 investment opportunities, and you will find all of them on the website. But these opportunities value around $4.5 billion, including the annual rate of growth. The investment size of those projects varies from hundreds of thousands up until more than 1.2 billion US dollars. I really encourage all of you colleagues to have a look on those projects. I'm certain you will find a proper opportunity that fits the investment size that you are looking for. In Jordan, we have numerous specialized development zones across Jordan, which have been established to host the multinational business complementary business partners and communities that benefit from very strong incentives and exemptions. As the slide shows, there are around 14 zones which offer developed land plots, infrastructure, and road networks, and the investor can choose of either owning or renting the property with competitive selling prices and rental rates, and not to forget, of course, the special fiscal incentives and benefits. At the end, thank you so much again, Excellencies, for giving me the floor and the pleasure to take part of this very important and timely session. And please feel free to contact the embassy should you have any further inquiries. And we are really stand ready to establish a direct communication with our colleagues in Jordan's Investment Commission. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much. That was a comprehensive oversight, and I'm sure will be of enormous value and interest to those taking part in this webinar. I'm starting, gentlemen, to get questions coming in, and perhaps you, Mr. Abana, will be able to answer them, or Your Excellency. One of them question is that the United Kingdom's Department for International Trade has identified opportunities for UK investors in Jordan, very particularly in energy, in infrastructure, technology, tourism, and education. And we all know that you have put an enormous effort into what you've been doing on education, and how incredibly generous Jordan has been in extending education opportunities to people who have been moved from other countries. And the question is, can you comment and give more details on any of those sectors? That's energy, technology, infrastructure, tourism, and education. Perhaps, I don't know if the ambassador would like to say something on those, or whether Mr. Abana would like to. Mr. Abana, would you like to say, sorry, Ambassador, would you like to say something on some of those issues?
Oh yes, thank you so much. We're extremely happy and grateful for the UK's attention to these sectors. As you know, in the education with the current COVID situation right now, all over the world, it's been challenging to move from normal regular schooling to e-learning. Of course, in Jordan, as you may well know, there are a number of private schools that are more equipped than the majority of the government supported schools that exist in the country. That said, the Ministry of Education and the government at large has cooperated with technological firms and startups in Jordan to make education accessible to everybody through electronic platforms to cope with the interruptions that take place. As far as the infrastructure, the sector, the country, of course, is highly regarded in that sense. So we have, in terms of the basic infrastructure, it's all there. But again, the world is developing in a very fast pace, and
Yes.
the focus on technology has been huge. In Jordan, we are very proud of the ICT sector that we have. It contributes to almost 12% of the GDP. We have so many. We have been able to attract so many large-scale companies and that are represented in Jordan, like Cisco, like Microsoft, like Oracle, and what have you. We have a dedicated business park for startups in ICT. We are tackling cyber very seriously, and there's a roadmap on how to get there. So many of the startups that actually started in Jordan found a house here in the UK. For instance, one of our latest success stories is the Iris Guard, which started in Jordan and moved offices to London because of the international exposure that London offers. But there are so many success stories that we can find both jointly and internationally at large. In investing in these sectors in Jordan, and we have the as my colleague just presented, the Jordan Investment Commission has determined what to make it easier for people to come into the Jordanian market. We have identified certain sectors, certain projects that initially the Jordan Investment Commission so feasible for those investors who are willing to come in and be in Jordan. Of course, we have the special economic development zones. The South Aqaba was mentioned by my colleague earlier. It's a free trade zone, basically. We have dedicated other industrial zones with different specializations. Some would focus on defense. Some would focus on telecommunications and what have you. Of course, the details are all published on the GIC website when it comes to that. So I feel it of importance that we put more emphasis on added value components, on talking directly, business to business, with the help of the embassy here in London or the UK, the United Kingdom's embassy in Amman, with the help of the Jordan Investment Commission, which has been very instrumental within also the framework of the joint task force that we have formed after the London conference back in 2019. The task force had its third meeting just recently that was co-chaired by our Minister of Planning and Minister Cleverly of the FCDO. So we're basically looking forward, and if there are any specific questions that we could help answer more technically, we'd love to receive them, and we promise to get back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency. There's another question here, which is specifically addressing public-private partnership projects as being an important means of implementing key projects and attracting investment. Could you or your colleague, Mr. Abana, say a bit more about Jordan's public-private partnership projects law, which I believe has been approved last year. What does that new law on public-private partnership offer to UK investors?
Well, I think it offers very lucrative incentives. We can, whoever asked that question, we can come back to them if you'd like to share privately or via the chamber your details or email. We'd gladly come back with a detailed document. But what I know is that we now have a dedicated office in the Prime Minister's office that deals with the public-private sector partnership initiatives. As far as the exact details of the law and what it offers, I personally I'm not aware of them, so I will not venture into saying something that I don't know about.
Well, Your Excellency, I'm sure that we could help here, and I'm sure my Secretary General would agree that we could help through publishing those sorts of opportunities that you've mentioned, because I think public-private partnerships are one of the areas where we are getting a lot of questions. They're all pretty much along those lines. And if you would like us to put out something more generally to our membership here in the United Kingdom about the public-private partnerships, I'm sure, Bando, we would be very happy to do so, will we not?
Definitely, definitely. And we do work hand to hand with the Jordanian embassy, especially in London, and with specifically His Excellency in different terms. But I think PPP is one of the hottest topic as we speak, and I think Jordan is eager to work in that specific sector, and the UK is leading the market in that sector. So we could basically arrange for all the updates in our website, and we could be the focal point after the embassy here in London.
Thank you, Banda. I've got a question here from Aisha Izzet, and the question is, what impact, either positive or negative, will a giga project of NEOM on the be on the Jordanian borders? What will the impact be? Will it be a positive impact of NEOM? Would it be a negative impact? And what are the opportunities of that particular NEOM project be vis-a-vis investment?
I'm sorry, which project exactly?
It's the NEOM, N-E-O-M project.
Oh, NEOM.
Yes, sorry, forgive me, it's my pronunciation.
No, it's fine. It's well, NEOM is basically a project that was announced by Saudi Arabia, and I think that, you know, it's because of its location in the Red Sea area, where we also have Aqaba, and the link again with Egypt in that same sea. I think it would probably have a very positive impact on all three countries. NEOM was, to my personal knowledge, NEOM was discussed between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Kingdom of Jordan. And His Majesty actually has also attended a meeting in Saudi Arabia in NEOM when, from my recollection, maybe a couple of years ago. So I think it would definitely have a positive impact on all three countries, and hopefully when it goes forward as planned and as initially discussed.
Thank you very much. I've got a question here from Mais Hadadin, I hope I pronounced that correctly, which says, we are very interested in the energy sector opportunities. Will those opportunities be shared with the attendees to this webinar? Now, it may be that we can't go through all the energy sector opportunities now, but perhaps if we were able, Banda, to publish those opportunities from here, perhaps you and Mr. Abana could get together and make sure that people who are interested in them get a full breakdown of what those opportunities are in energy. Perhaps you'd like to say something about that, Mr. Abana.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I hear the question, and the energy sector in Jordan, as you know, is a very vital one, and it's not only the conventional energy projects. We're right now talking about the renewable energy projects as well. I would love to stay in touch with with our colleagues at the chamber, and in order to publish for this specific sector, and we'll do it.
Thank you. There's a question here which I should think many of us have got a great deal of interest in, and I think it's probably directed at all of us, but very particularly to Your Excellency, the Ambassador. It comes from Michael Garden, Avingen, and it says, can you confirm when the UK will have a free trade agreement in place with Jordan so my customers in Jordan pay less import tax and move away from the WTO trade agreement? There you are. There's a huge question for you. I'm sure we would all like to see a free trade agreement with Jordan. I'm certain the government here in the United Kingdom would. And I imagine that is something that you would like to see in Jordan as well. Do you have any feeling about working towards a free trade agreement and when that might be possible?
Well, Jordan already has free trade agreements, as I mentioned, and as my colleague mentioned, with
yes,
like the United States, like Singapore, Canada, and what have you. With the UK, and I believe you also mentioned earlier on, with the UK, we've just signed the association agreement, and of course, this allows both countries to take the time to go ahead with their business as usual, as it has been done. While the UK was still a member of the European Union, so it gives some sort of a good deal amount of time to work out a free trade agreement that would be for the benefit of the two countries. So I'm not sure as to when could that happen, but I'm sure that our people on both sides are discussing that extensively. So I cannot give a date, unfortunately. As you may well know, some free trade agreements could take long. Some of them are done in a shorter amount of time, but the relationship between Jordan and the UK is exceptional by all measures and standards. So let's leave it to the experts and wait and see what they come out.
Well, that's an excellent answer, and as a former trade minister myself, I know that I would be very much looking forward to a free trade agreement with Jordan. As I said, I think our relationship has always been very strong, and we have admired how much help Jordan has given to displaced people in your region, and the efforts that you have made, for example, in educating children displaced from other countries where there have been conflict. And I think that for my part, we will make sure that this is something that I know that our trade ministers will want to be working on very hard, and to ensure that we do get a free trade agreement as soon as we can. And we will certainly be bringing that point very strongly home to the ministers here in the United Kingdom. I've got a question about what measures. This one comes from Manuel Lagendorf, who is an independent researcher. And Manuel Lagendorf asks, what concrete measures is Jordan planning to help the digital economy become more attractive for investors and become a real driver for job creation? What role can outside actors like the UK and the EU play in the development of your digital economy? Mr. Abanavi, would you like to have a crack at that one? Is there something that you could help encourage as a driver for investors on the digital economy?
Of course, Your Excellency, as said by His Excellency the Ambassador, the ICT sector in Jordan is one of the most promising sectors in Jordan, and a couple of concrete procedures have been taken to consolidate the economy process in Jordan. So it is an excellent combination between the ICT and the procedures of how can we flourish our economy, which is affected by the pandemic, as said by His Excellency. The digital economy sector is one of the sectors that are looking to in Jordan, and I think there are a lot of opportunities to invest on that.
Thank you very much. Now, I've got a really specialist question here, and it's so interesting. You may not be able to answer it, but I'm going to just mark it up. It comes from David Bentley Miller, who is a United Kingdom beekeeper. And he says, I was delighted to see Jordan seeking investment in beekeeping. Could you give me some specifics on this, please? Now that is, I know, a very specialist area, and you may not be an expert in beekeeping, but there we have somebody who is very interested in it, and perhaps we could write to David Bentley Miller about beekeeping, unless you have knowledge at your fingertips. Alas, I know very little about beekeeping in the United Kingdom, let alone in Jordan. But perhaps, Mr. Abana, you do know more about beekeeping. If not, we can get in touch with the gentleman after the webinar. Bees are jolly important.
I thank David for this question. And, you know, my experience with bees and beekeeping is that I probably got stung by one way back. But nonetheless, I am aware that we do have an annual exhibition in Jordan, attracting beekeepers from all over the country and the region to come in and display the quality of their honeys. Of course, to my mind, there are different areas in Jordan. I mean, Jordan's geography is quite diverse. from lower to higher lands, and an array of trees and flowers that the experts would know about. So we do have that annual exhibition for beekeepers, for honey, different tastes. But if David would like to get in touch with the embassy, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, that would be terrific. You have an annual exhibition.
Yes.
Terrific, good. Well, I'm sure that will come as a very great incentive to Mr. Bentley Miller. I see a lot of bees starting up in my garden at home, but I don't think that's quite what he means. He means the ones that are kept in hives and for producing honey on a much wider basis than I'm sure my bees do. This is a question, if I may, from Mr. Moses Solomon. And he says, is Jordan willing to update the PPP regulations to ensure true public participation in receiving the benefits? He says the present law needs to be inclusive of the people in socio-economic development. So that's about public-private partnership regulations, and what's happening there? Is that being updated, and how embracing would it be of people from different in different industries and different backgrounds?
Well, to be honest, if I am learning something from this interaction, is that the interest of where we need to focus is basically, as far as the UK is concerned, is now quite clear. I do believe that Jordan is quite attentive to such remarks that we would be happy to receive if they could do me the favor of sending me the whatever it is. People in the different industries are more specialized and are more aware of the issues. So whatever we can receive in terms of feedback to the existing law, of course, I'm sure that the government will take into consideration and amend accordingly, because Jordan has, as I mentioned, Jordan has a plan. It's going ahead with the laws and regulations according to, of course, what's happening on the ground, and of course the interest of others in Jordan. So I'd be very happy to receive comments and remarks directly or through the Arab Chamber of Commerce on these issues, and I'll gladly pass them on to the government to have a look at them, and I can promise to get back to them, to all those who would write to the embassy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's very helpful. I think that, sorry, do on.
I would like just to go back to the ICT sector. The ICT sector in Jordan, as I said, it contributes to 12% of the country's overall GDP. It provides for over 84,000 jobs, which is almost 6% of the labor force. Again, there are quite a few initiatives, and some of which have been undertaken by His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al Hussein's office, and are under his auspices. For instance, we've had the 1 million coders initiative launched just recently, and we're putting a lot of emphasis on facilitating the infrastructure for those who are still at schools at the moment, in addition to whatever comes out of universities. I think we have over 5,000 university graduates that study that kind of in that kind of field. What can be done is basically look at the talent pool that we have in Jordan, and maybe for those larger companies here in the UK who would look for instance, for hiring talent, run them through a 2 to 3 month course specializing on what kind of business that they would like to do with them, and they're ready to go, they're ready to fly. So there is a lot that can be done within that framework, and again, we're happy to help. There are specialized institutions in Jordan. For instance, we have Oasis 500, we have Intaj, and everybody is willing to engage. The government is also willing to engage. And as I said, about 5,000 graduates each year from a country the size of Jordan in ICT is quite significant.
That's terrific.
And by the way,
thank you.
Mainly English speakers as well.
Thank you very much. I've got a question here on education. It comes from Mr. Benjamin Llewellyn, which sounds as though the gentleman either comes from or originally came from Wales, which of course is a very important part of the United Kingdom. And he has been very interested in the presentations touching on education. And of course, education is listed as one of the areas which has been particularly impacted by the appalling pandemic of COVID-19. It's, I think, the same for all of us. Education has been a real problem. He's interested to know if there are any specific strands of education which you feel have particularly weathered the storm, that is, that have particularly survived, or show signs now of improving more quickly? And what's the best way to forge educational partnerships between the United Kingdom and Jordan? I think that is a very important question that Mr. Llewellyn has put forward. So on education, Your Excellency, where do you think we should concentrate?
Indeed. I mean, I recall a couple of visits by our Minister of Education here to the UK, and he's had talks with his counterparts at the time. In addition, of course, to the British Council, which is
Yes.
we have asked for assistance in looking at the English language in schools, and trying to raise the level of teaching English in schools, in the public supported schools in particular. There is, again, this is a field that, to my mind, can be mixed with the use of technology and e-learning platforms. Education is key to the advancement of nations and countries. And I think that, for instance, coding has surfaced as something that that is of significance when it comes to the future and where the world is headed for. I mean, we do have we've had some initiatives that we can definitely share with our friend if he drops us a line, and we will see if he would also have any ideas to as to where we can put more emphasis. But I believe that the support that we would get from the United Kingdom in terms of leveling up the English language education in Jordan would be highly appreciated. That and again, I'm personally very interested in the UTC colleges that the technical schools that the UK has embarked on lately. There's an added value of apprenticeship that we in Jordan have been eager to see move forward. Again, because of at the end of the day, you need the graduates to be matched with the job market, which is
of course
that we are also looking at very seriously.
Thank you. That's a very helpful answer, and thank you for mentioning the technical schools, the apprenticeships, and as well, of course, the British Council, which does play a very important part in the educational effort that the United Kingdom is able to offer. I have the questions, gentlemen, are coming in thick and fast, and I'm not quite sure how much more time we have got. I'm looking at Banda. We can go on for a little longer, Banda.
Yes, definitely. If His Excellency is okay with that, we can have an extra 5 more minutes to address a question or so.
Now, I think this is more probably aimed at you and me, Banda, in a way. This comes from Majid Hussain, who's a partner at Smith & Williamson, who says, I work with a number of Middle Eastern clients, especially those investing and coming to the UK. What's the UK doing to raise Jordan's profile as a safe place to invest, as our clients are always looking for safe jurisdictions, especially stable jurisdictions in the Middle East? Now, this is a difficult question at the moment, I think, because where you invest at the moment is partly, of course, going to depend on how quickly we do recover from this appalling pandemic. And I think that we need to give this a bit of thought, Banda, but I don't know if you've got any particular thoughts about what you think as, of course, you are not British, but you've been here for some time, what we can do to raise Jordan's profile as a safe place to invest. And I think that this is one that both you and Mr. Omar Abaneh might have some views about.
Well, definitely, I can speak in behalf of the Chamber, but not the government at this point.
Yes, of course.
What we have in plan, we are planning a trade mission to go to Jordan once the restrictions are lifted. Jordan is one of the countries on top of our list due to the great opportunities and the incentives in Jordan. And again, let me just highlight on a few things over there. The young population, the leading part Jordan is taking in IT and service solutions, and highly educated, I would say, labor over there will give a very solid ground for investors to go and invest in Jordan. And I think our role from the Chamber perspective is to facilitate all the initial, connections, as well as to facilitate for the trade mission. And I invite everybody to come and ask us and inquire about Jordan and the opportunity over there. My team and I are more than happy to address any of those inquiries.
Well, that's I think a very helpful answer. I mentioned earlier on about the agreement that was signed, the association agreement, which is expected to come into effect on May this year. I'm being asked, can we give an update? I think it probably falls to me to say, look, we want to see this trade agreement coming into effect as soon as possible. That is the business community here in the United Kingdom. It does very much depend. The agreement, of course, originally signed was before anybody had even really heard of COVID, let alone experienced something that has affected every single country in the world. And we should be doing our best to ensure that we are able to implement our agreement with Jordan. I know I've said this in a way already, but I do think that Jordan has a very special place in English hearts, British hearts, I should say, because of our long association, because of our relationships that have flourished with the Jordanian royal family. And of course, we also know what it is like to have a royal family who are respected and admired, as indeed yours is. So I think we would be very keen to move as soon as possible. I'm no longer a member of the government, but I'm a member of the House of Lords, and it is one of those areas, obviously, at the moment. What are we going to do about trade, which is constantly discussed in our parliament, in the elected parliament, and in the House of Lords, which is full of people like me who have been ministers in the past and who have learned quite a lot from our experience as ministers. So I hope that is an adequate answer on that particular question for the person. If Your Excellency, please, yes, do add to that.
Just to alleviate any concern, I think that we can guarantee almost that there will be no interruptions as far as that's concerned. The update stands by the agreement has been sent to our parliament, and as soon as parliament votes on it, it will hopefully go through a few legal avenues, and then it will be and it will go into effect. But the gentleman should like to know that the government has extended the state of affairs that were governed by our bilateral agreement, hopefully up until the time the association agreement is ratified and goes into effect.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think this is going to have to be our last question, and it comes from somebody very keen on what we can do to help the digital economy in Jordan. Obviously, digital economy is enormously important, and those of us who are outside players from the UK or even our colleagues in Europe, is there something you would particularly like us to concentrate on in trying to help with the development of the digital economy in Jordan?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, Jordan definitely would like to benefit from the ecosystem that digitalization has in the UK and Europe at large is quite impressive. Again, in terms of incentives, in terms of the elements that, or all the elements that need to go in favor of that field. So whatever we can, whatever experiences that the UK can share with Jordan in that regard is definitely highly appreciated. Again, looking at Jordan is a place of many back office operations now for larger companies, and anybody who's interested in more data about that, I would love to hear from them, again, either directly or through the chamber, and we'll get back to them. But definitely benefiting from having the experience of our partners here in the UK as to how to develop the ecosystem even more in Jordan, that would be appreciated.
If I may add very quick, Baroness, I think we should ask ourselves the same question, but the other way around, what Jordan can offer to the UK, because we do both way investment opportunities. And I think really Jordan are leading in so many different IT, eco, as well as e-government sector in that region, and ranked top in the world. So I think it would be a great opportunity for the UK to share these experiences as well. This is all what I wanted to say at this point. Thank you.
Well, I agree with you entirely. Gentlemen, I think we are coming to the point where we have to draw this to a close. I don't know if there's anything that any of you want to add. I think if this has been a very interactive exchange, we've had a lot of questions that have come in. I think I have been able to cover most of them one way or another in asking you gentlemen to respond. Is there anything you would like to say, Your Excellency, in closing?
Thank you ever so much. I'd like to thank everybody who's been with us today for their interest and I'm sure for their friendship. If we have met, I'm happy. If we haven't yet, then our doors are always open. As I promised, whatever comes directly to the
well, we know what.
Or through the chamber, we will deal with, and we promise to get back to you. And I've really benefited from this. Again, at least I have seen the direction in which the UK companies and our participants would need to focus on. And hopefully we will deal with that in the days to come. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you, Mr. Abana. I'm sorry if I've not pronounced your name properly, but you have given us a lot of information for which we are very grateful. I know that you will be keeping in close touch with our CEO and Secretary General. Thank you, Banda. I hope that we will be able to meet in person soon. I very much look forward to coming to Jordan as we are able to open up means of travel again. As I said, it is a country very close to my heart. Your king and your queen have always been very welcoming, and it is important that that relationship is kept as close as it has been and is developed as we all want to see, to the benefit of all of us. And to everybody listening in, and those of you who sent in questions, or those of you who have been listening, thank you very much for being with us today. And I hope you found this a useful exchange of views. Please remember, we are here in London. We have, as you can see, an excellent Secretary General who's very active, who has kept us going through this terrible pandemic, has been here every day, fielding questions and helping people through what has been a very difficult period for all of us. And I wish you all well in Jordan, and hope that this terrible pandemic is soon dealt with in all our countries, and we can get back to good, strong trading, working relationships. Thank you very much, and thank you to all our audience, those who sent in questions and those who were kind enough to join us to listen to what was going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.